of our final show with Councilman JMaynard3, who is the Metropolitan Council person.
That's correct.
For the entire metropolitan area.
That's right.
I think that
council member at large.
Council member at large.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes I get that confused.
That's
with
okay.
Just being a council.
Just call
person.
me Jerry.
But you're a council member at large, and we certainly appreciate that, and we know that. And let's do in this final 8 or 10 minutes that we have, Councilman, talk about some of the developments that has been directed primarily at the national administration, as we refer to it, and about what Mr. Obama has done and what he's trying to do in terms of trying to bring us out of the deep depression and recession that we've been in.
Right. Well, here's what happened. We know in November that we had an election and where Republicans were elected. In fact, it was one of the greatest elections for Republicans since 1938. And unfortunately, we had a lot of courageous congresspersons and senators who stood up for America and the working families and said, we're going to do what's right for working families. And unfortunately, their message got lost because of the attacks, the lies and deceptions that were done on the other side. Look what happened with President Obama when he was inaugurated. 2 failed wars, one in Afghanistan, one in Iraq. You had the worst recession since the Depression. You had General Motors, Chrysler, and Ford almost going out of business. Then later we had the oil spill, right? And then we had all of these major issues and all these major problems that President Barack Obama walks into. You had the housing crises. We had more foreclosures in the history of our country. With all of those issues, with all of those problems, what does President Obama does? He creates a stimulus package that saves Wall Street. He saves General Motors and Chrysler. Now General Motors is out of bankruptcy, making a profit, making product. Chrysler, same thing. Ford is also saved. So we saved the automobile industry, which would have led to over 3 million jobs being lost had we not saved General Motors alone. Think about that.
That's right.
Think about that. Then you have a healthcare crisis where 50 million people do not have health care, where healthcare costs are going so high that the #1 cost for all employers right now is healthcare costs. Yet Obama was able to lead us to get a healthcare plan to save the automobile industry, to save us in Wall Street, to deal with the housing, and to provide a stimulus package for the infrastructure of the country. A lot of people don't know this, but our bridges and highways were going completely, were being destroyed because of a lack of attention and maintenance over the last 15 to 20 years. If we had not had that stimulus package, we would have had to lay off teachers, police officers and firefighters over the last 2 years. But because of the stimulus package, it created jobs because we dealt with highways, bridges, and infrastructure. And we were able to save jobs. For those persons who say, oh, big government and the stimulus package and the bailouts and all that, let me tell you something. With the flood that came in May, without federal government, we will not be able to rebuild our city. So anybody, Doc, who tells you about their anti-big government and we shouldn't be bailing out people and we should have stimulus, let me tell you something. You would have lost police officers, teachers, and firefighters, and our flooded community could not be rebuilt without the federal government. So the federal government has a role, and President Obama has shown strong leadership. Unfortunately, he made this one mistake. He thought if he would come in and reach out to the Republicans on the other side, they would reach back out to him. He learned a hard lesson. They tattooed him. They attacked him. They just, instead of reaching back and saying, what can we do what's best for our country? They said, we're going to make this a living hell for you in the presidency. And unfortunately, he did not have a message to hit back. He didn't fight back. On the health care reform, he should have fought back. Here's what I would have done if I was president. I would have gone to every congressman who said they were against Obamacare. And I would have said, in your congressional district, you have thousands of people without health care. You're going to have to close your hospital. These people are going to die because they have no health care. The hospitals are going to have to close. And you're going to tell me, you're going to look your constituents in the eye and tell those persons who cannot qualify for insurance because they have a pre-existing condition, or those rural hospitals are going to close because we no longer have enough money in order to sustain the hospitals. And all these people who need surgery, who have no jobs and no money, or work at Walmart without any benefits. Tell those to their face, those constituents, that you're against Obamacare. See, if you had come and fought hard the way he was supposed to, the mistake he made, he tried to come in and act like he was above politics. And that's the only criticism I have of Obama. He should have came in there and fought hard. I would have gone to every congressional district. I would have had crowds of people without health insurance and said, you tell them that you're going to vote against Obamacare.
And that's exactly what they have to tell them now.
Exactly
when they talk about trying to repeal repeal health care, and do you think that will move?
The Congress did something symbolic, but what it told us is where they stand. Where they stand is they do not care about people who do not have health care insurance. There are 50 million people, Dr. Haney, who do not have health care insurance. We cannot wait for them to get sick to go to the emergency room for them to get care. It will bankrupt our country. More money of our income is being utilized for health care than ever before. Health care costs are rising so much that employers can no longer afford to give them health care benefits. We have to do something, and repealing it without a replacement plan won't work.
In other words, to repeal it is almost to go back to where we were.
That's correct, which was a failed system. But let me tell you what the Republicans have proposed. I just want to tell you, their proposal will only give 3 million Americans health care, access to health care over the next 10 years. Obama's plan touches 33 million.
That's the difference between the two sides.
30 million difference.
That's a small, insignificant
You're right,
difference.
exactly right.
And as a matter of fact, since you've been involved with institutions of higher education, Meharry Medical College,
and Matthew Walker Comprehensive Health Center.
Well, what do you think about the state of financial state for many of our historically black institutions like Meharry and
Tennessee State,
etc.? What do you think about? Let's speak to that.
Well, it's a major challenge right now. What is happening is ever since President Barack Obama got elected president, some people feel like now we are a colorblind society. There's no longer any other racism. There are no communities that are underserved. Why do we need an HBCU when we finally have fulfilled the dream of Dr. King by electing President Obama? That's not the case. Electing President Obama has nothing to do with what's going on here in Nashville regarding the underserved community. We still need Meharry because it produces more black doctors than any other institution. Do you know where those black doctors go and serve? In the underserved communities where they are needed the most. So we need Meharry, we need TSU, and we need Fisk, we need American Baptist College. What we have to do, Dr. Haney, as our community, we have to stop blaming everybody else, and we have got to rally together to support our institutions of higher learning. What do I mean by that? By an individual, instead of buying a BMW, maybe I need to go ahead and just buy a Chevrolet and donate some money back to TSU and Meharry and Fisk University. Instead of going to Morton's, maybe I'll go to Ponderosa, save some of that money, and then donate, or utilize my skills and my abilities to rally the community together and say, I may not have $500 to give, but I got $50 to give. So then I need to get 100 people with $50, right? In order to give, so that we as a community can appreciate our HBCUs. And then we have to have strong leadership. I'm happy about this interim president of TSU. I hope that she could come in and straighten the boat out and get everybody going in the same direction, moving in the same direction, because it's all about the students and it's all about our future. And so I hope that our leadership will realize they have to come back to the community. Without a vision, the people perish. Show us the vision of TSU. Show us the vision of Meharry. Show us the vision of Fisk and American Baptist College. And then as a community, we need to rally with them, amen, to make our institutions stronger and better to better serve our community.
You know, one final statement that we're looking for from you is something in reference to our participation in politics. Say something to especially the young people over the last couple of minutes we have about how important it is to register and to vote. As a person who's already involved in councilmanic activities, why is that important?
I've worked in 12 campaigns. It's hard to lead when nobody's following. Our young people have tuned us out because what they've seen us saying, we'll make promise after promise after promise and never deliver. Our politicians come into our communities once every 4 years asking for a vote. We never see them again. So the young people are saying, I don't see how my life is different. I don't see how my life has been impacted positively. You never come and serve in the community. You don't live in the community with us. You come and ask for our vote and then you leave and we don't see you again. You're like an absentee leader. Well, what we have to do, Doc, is we have to go and show the young people, show African Americans, show poor whites, show Hispanics that we not only are here to ask for your vote, we're here to serve you. We're here to make your community better. We're here to put in programs and initiatives that will show you that life and the quality of life for your community can be as good as anywhere else in the country. If we do that, then people will vote. But we've got to reach out to them. It's hard to get somebody and ask them to register to vote when you don't know them.
All right.
So you have to get in the community.
Your very presence.
Your very presence, but it can't be there every time it's election time. And then what has happened to us is that the politicians and everybody always want to come right before election. No, be here when there's no election.
Okay, and
serve the community.
Of course, we're running out of time.
I talk too much.
And as a matter of fact, it's more information we'd like to hear from you. But of course, we're running out of time. We certainly appreciate you coming by and being with us today. And let me, during the this last half minute, not only thank you for coming by and being with us and making another appearance with us, and we look forward to seeing you again. And let me also encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.